Hi, my dear children. Today I'm back with a new poem for you. The poem I'm going to explain today is about the relation between a small student and a teacher and the questions the students have about the teachers. You all must be having a favorite teacher, right? Yes. Children, we all have seen our teachers being teachers. They are teaching us, inspiring us, guiding us, and sometimes even scolding us for our good. For a small child, a teacher is always special, and it's very difficult for him to think of his or her teacher as an ordinary person. And before moving on to the poem, Where Do All the Teachers Go? Let me introduce you the poet. The poet of this particular poem is Peter Dixon. Apart from a poet, he is a performer, educationalist, and an artist. He has published several poetry collections for children, including Grow Your Own Poems, Lost Property Box, Grand Prix, and most recently, Penguin and Fritz. In this poem, Where do all the teachers go? A small child is thinking about his teachers like where do they go after school, what do they do at their homes, etc. The poet speaks about a child's love and curiosity for his or her teacher. So let's see what the child is thinking. Where do all the teachers go when it's 4 o'clock? Do they live in houses and do they wash their socks? Do they wear pajamas? And do they watch TV? And do they pick their noses? The same as you and me. Do they live with other people? Have their moms and dads? And were they ever children? And were they ever bad? Did they ever never spell right? Did they ever make mistakes? Were they punished in the corner if they pinched the chocolate flakes? Did they ever lose their hymn books? Did they ever leave their grains? Did they scribble on the desktops? Did they wear dirty jeans? I'll follow one back home today. I'll find out what they do. Then I'll put it in a poem that they can read to you. See the first stanza. Where do all the teachers go when it's 4 o'clock? Do they live in houses and do they wash their socks? Here, the child is very curious to know about his teacher. He is asking where all the teachers go after the school hours when it's 4 o'clock. He wants to know it like any other ordinary being. They also live in houses and wash their socks. Means that do they also do all the routine work like other people? See the next stanza. Do they wear pajamas? And do they watch TV? And do they pick their noses the same as you and me? Pick their nose is a phrase which means to insert a finger into nostril to clear. The child here wants to know whether the teachers are wearing pajamas and watch TV like them. He also wants to know do they clean their noses or insert finger in the nose the way the other people do. See the third stanza. Do they live with other people? Have they moms and dads? And were they ever children? And were they ever bad? Further, the child wonders by asking if they are also surrounded by people. Do the teachers also have parents and children like us? Did they commit any mistakes? Or did they do anything wrong when they were children? Now, let's move on to the next stanza. Did they ever never spell right? Did they ever make mistakes? Were they punished in the corner if they pinched the chocolate flakes? Punished in the corner, it's a phrase. This phrase means that getting caught for a misdeed in class and made to stand in the corner of the classroom as a punishment. Here in this stanza, the poet says that the child wants to know whether the teachers had done any mistakes, whether they got any punishments while they were students for doing any silly or naughty things, or for pinching the chocolate flakes. The child here wonders whether the teachers also do the things that other people do because he thinks that they are not ordinary people, but for him they are superhumans. He assumes that these teachers are always strict, never made any mistakes, and are ideal in all respects. See the next stanza. Did they ever lose their hymn books? Did they ever leave their grains? Did they scribble on the desktops? Did they wear dirty jeans? Here, leave their grains is a phrase which means that leaving the playground after the bell strikes for the next class to begin. You can see the other word scribble, which means that write or do something carelessly. Here, the child is asking questions like whether the teachers also ever lost their religious books. Hymn books means religious books. Did they also waste time by scribbling on the desk? And he also wants to know whether they were old dirty jeans. Here the child compares his own habits with those of the teachers in their childhood. He thinks that they too much have lost their prayer books, wore dirty jeans, and scribbled on their desktop. See the last stanza. I'll follow one back home today. I'll find out what they do. Then I'll put it in a poem that they can read to you. In the last stanza, he says that to overcome his curiosity, he decides to follow or spy his teacher on his way home after the school and to get the first hand information about the teacher. Once he is clear about everything, or once he knows what they do at their homes, he also likes to compose or write a poem about it and thinks that the teacher will read the poem to his children. This poem actually shows the cuteness, purity, and curiosity a young mind has for his teachers. It shows also their expectations from